What's going on, guys? This is William here with another episode for you. I know it's been a while, fucking since July, since I had someone else uh, be on my show, basically. And the rest of it is me ranting on my phone. I apologize if you don't like that. You can skip all those. That's why I don't put a number on them. Those are just random thoughts and ideas that I put out there just to put myself out there more, just for people to get to know this brain of mine. um, but joining me today is the mystical scientist, Sidney Stax. He's from the Netherlands, which is awesome. He's from the different part of this. He's from a different part of this planet. I'm all over here, and he's all the way over there. It's pretty awesome. So our time difference was it limited us with our conversation. I'm pretty sure our conversation could have went further, but due to time constraints, we were limited to focusing on a topic that we wanted to cover, which was spirituality, basically, and science is spirituality to be exact, because that's his area of expertise, since he is an ecologist. It's crazy when you meet these people and they have different interests and different intellects or smarts, if you will. And regardless, we're all human beings, man. We're all here to learn. For most of us, anyway, that want to learn and share our experiences. But I'm gonna stop talking. I just want to say that I am grateful for Sidney for joining us. For those of you listening or watching, I appreciate him for giving us the time so that we can discuss certain things. Again, I met him through Instagram over a spirituality post that we were both having a little chat over. It was a misunderstanding at first, but then we came to understand we were saying the same thing in different ways. So without further ado, I bring to you Sidney Stax.
Yeah, sure. Short introduction about myself. I work as an ecologist and water management for my semi company government, and I'm doing a lot of talking to people already, but more locally, and it's usually about my work. Um, and I started to do philosophy and a bit of spiritual when I was younger, but I chose to first focus on more the scientific view. However, it's already got fast to a philosophical point, but I wanted to help the world, a bit cliche. But so I keep focusing on the practice work. And to keep a long story short for now, in the end, I found a lot of similarities between ecology and the Taoistic or the Stoic worldview, and that made me decide that I wanted to combine those two and also start my Instagram page about life as you can view it from all different directions.
Right. So, and your page is wow. I was going to say mythical, but it's the mystical sciences. Sorry.
Mythical would also be
Yeah. Just my tongue was slipping there, wanted to say mythical for whatever reason. So I was just trying to say mystical. But yeah, I ran into you when I believe we were having a conversation on some post. I forget what it was that spiked our conversation. But it intrigued me that you stood with me in terms of having to continue the conversation, and we we learned that we were saying the same thing but in different ways, right? If I remember correctly, I'm trying to go back to. I should have screenshot it, but I didn't think we were going to have this conversation, to be honest. Which is the whole point. I wanted to put this message out there with this podcast, or any podcast out there that's doing something like this. This is what I'm talking about when I say we should all be having conversations. Because instead of arguing online and getting angry with each other all the time and not being mindful of why you're being angry at the comments and all that, we can learn how to have a conversation by taking it off of social media, so to speak. This is still social media in a way. Zoom. Hold on, baby. Hold on. I got my daughter, just letting you know.
Okay,
So I may have to briefly pause every now and then just to make sure she's tended to.
no
Uh,
problem.
uh, Lost my train of thought, but I'm glad you're here. By the way, I wanted to thank you for that. For
Yeah,
giving.
thank you. And thank you for the invite. I was
Yeah.
really enjoyed when you invite me to do this podcast. Because it's like you said, I sometimes get um, uh, I sometimes hear from other people because I like to discuss in general about basically whatever, sometimes just for sake of argument. And sometimes they say, well, you should go into a debate group. And I always be like, no, no, I don't want to go into a debate group because in a debate, there is a winner and a loser.
Mm.
And you have to defend your point of view. And that's the goal. And I'm like, no, I want to have a discussion. I want to have a talk. And if I change my view because whatever reason I might be wrong about something and somebody can show it, then I'm glad because that gives me new information and then I grow. So that's always the point of a discussion. It's not to win or feel that you're right or score some points in any way, like in a debate.
Mm.
But it's just to, well, for us, it's for example, it's learning that we can mean the same thing by putting it in different words. And actually, you can use those words of the other person, steal it, sort of say. But for the next time when you talk to somebody, and well, then maybe you're more clearer to the next person a bit more sooner. So that's all. That could be one reason for discussion.
Mm. And
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I was just looking at. I think I found.
I found it, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, you also found it.
How- I listen to you and then I try to, as I'm listening, let me try to quickly I'm being my own producer, I guess. So this is what we do when we have to.
Can you also introduce yourself a bit to me?
Oh, okay. So I'm Will Rodriguez. I am just a human being that exists from uh in Pennsylvania in the United States. Uh I train martial arts.
Hmm.
That's my passion, but I also I just work. I'm a vending machine operator. I just go to the vending machine to put your snacks into so you can, depending on if you like junk food or not, you can eat your junk food. That's what Americans mostly do. And we eat junk food so that we can, just get hyped up. I don't know if you're from America, by the way. I'm just
No, from the Netherlands. So
okay.
it's like way on the other side. Not
Yeah,
on
that's
the
I
side,
was
but yeah.
I was assuming you weren't from America. That's why I was talking that way. But I was like, I didn't ask. I should ask. But anyway, so you're from the Meadowlands. You're way over there, and this gives you a perspective of like what I see from an American's perspective, being that person, uh, being lost, I should say, in a really screwed up country in a way. It's screwed up in many senses, but it's screwed up. And to me, I've learned that it was screwed up in a good way so that I can learn from it. And then, okay, let's take a perspective at it and get a good glance of why is this thing all messed up.
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
I can imagine. I don't think that the Netherlands is that much less fucked up, by the way.
yeah,
It's
give me,
also a Western, rich, self-entitled country. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
it's
That's a, see, no matter what, we're going to have this awesome discussion about everything. It doesn't matter where we're from, who we are, how we talk, what words we use, how intelligent we are. You're smarter than me just by being an ecologist, because I'm not, but I'm smarter than you in a different way. Who knows what? I don't know. But
exactly. I like the word smart actually because it's different from intelligence. I mean, you could say like maybe do an IQ test for me or something, and I could
yeah,
score really high. But that doesn't mean that I didn't make bad decisions in my life.
yeah, there you go.
And so then you could say like, well, even if you are that intelligent, then how can you be so stupid? It actually could make it even worse.
Right,
But,
right. And that's another conversation, man. That's so
yeah,
many ways we can go with this awesome spider web that we're creating of conversations. Give me a
yeah,
second. Let me tend to my child real
go
fast.
ahead. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about what you said because we're talking about intelligence, and it's already interesting because well, you said you work with these vending machines, but like your work function called like a repairman or yeah.
So I'm just a route driver, pretty much. I can repair the machines eventually if they do happen to break down on me. But if I can't do something that takes a lot of time, like an hour, I have to call the repairman to do all that.
Yeah. I totally get
So I don't have to waste my
it.
time because I'm on a schedule. I gotta hurry up, get home. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, but that's already a thing that I like that because there are actually two things that I miss about my own job, and that's that I don't have to travel that much. We are like a semi like 80-90% office job. And the other thing is I can't work that much with my hands. And when I was younger, I actually wanted to get more into engineering and work with my hands, and I kind of miss that. And I often like I'm an ecologist, which is of course not engineering, but I always see everything as a system. And with work, it's important that you have to schedule everything and be on time. So these are things that, like, in whatever level you are, talk about level higher or lower, that are just kind of labels we put on it. You have to develop a way of thinking anyway, and there's always a connection to be found somewhere if you go deep enough. And if I can go on about this, in my job, I am very lucky that I actually have to work with people that are, well, yeah, let's put it this way, less educated than me. They're like, well, one of my colleagues, he's 10 years in the field. I work, by the way, on the sewer and water department. So he was an electrician by training. And really basic, a bit similar to you. He had to go to installations and check if they were all right or not. He could do some stuff for himself, and if the problem was too big, yeah, he also had to call in other people. But through years of experience, he worked himself up. With a bit of bragging, he's good at that. And actually, I'm having the same same level of title as he has now. And we were once at a small conference, which was actually about really complex systems, where he's more in the pumping systems of the sewers. And there were like all these different systems all over the city that could work together with smart systems. Like if the one goes on, that the other one already prepares to make room if the one is full. Like it's and then there are really complex computer models that are also way too complex for me, because I'm like really not the smartest person ever or something. But we were talking about these models, and there were figures shown, and some other university guy was like, yeah, what do you think happen if we twist the knobs a little bit like this? And he actually kind of predicted how these outcomes of the models would go. And somebody asked, yeah, how do you know? And he was like, yeah, I don't know, it's just a feeling. And I was like, yeah, I think he's right, but that's because I learned about these models and I've seen them before. And that was really interesting to me, that he couldn't really put it into words, but he had this much experience without the education, that he still understand or has a feeling for the system. And I think he actually had a better feeling of the system than I had, even though I had an education that had something to do with it. So that's interesting how these, our level of education doesn't really have to matter. And sometimes he and another colleague are talking about bolts and materials and then forces on it and how to put it in the ground. And I'm like, they're like, I don't really have a clue what they're talking about. And I'm here with like a double degree and everything, but I can enjoy this conversation. So who's the smart guy now?
Yeah. So
fun. Yeah.
this is why I love what we do. Everyone has their own level of intelligence, right? You mentioned I this is where my intelligence in terms of like explaining things, understanding how to explain things precisely. Like when you go to college and then you get your education, you learn so many different words to be more precise. When you have a conversation with someone, you can bring up all these crazy words I never heard of. Yeah, you could say some crazy word. I'm like, what the fuck? I never heard that pattern that came out of your mouth. That came out with this wave that went into my ear and gave me something different I never heard of. What is that? And then you're like, you'll say, I can't say two words that mean the same thing, but one is smarter, one is dumber, whatever. You know what I mean? But you get my point.
Yeah.
So if you say some word, I'm like, what is that? And you're like, how can I explain to this guy in a simple way? And then you say a different word, a simpler word that I understand. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So anyway, you were talking, explaining that thank you for that, because you were working my brain. As you were talking, my brain said this. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see right there. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Can you see what I drew there?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a combination of two networks.
Okay, so you have the network of like what I'm gonna try to explain what I drew for those of you listening. Uh, I have this thing called Brilliant. I think the app is called Brilliant. I don't know if
Oh
you heard of it.
yeah, I already also got a lot of commercials for that. I think I already joined up too.
I Yeah, I did it because as a philosopher myself, I'm very curious about this world, this planet. But I've often ignored mathematics. I've often ignored a lot of scientific thinking because um, I love science, but I didn't realize how much I love science until I did, if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
Buddhism or Tao or all these different ways of exploring consciousness that teaches us about consciousness led me to think, oh, there's a science to all of this, right? How can if I'm being my own scientist. I've been saying that since the beginning of this podcast. I said, I don't need to go get my degree. I have this rebel side of me that doesn't feel like going to spend a lot of money. I don't know if it's the same over there.
Yeah, my college debt is sky high. I can't buy a house.
Yeah, it's like because of that. It's just what I'm saying. You have to like figure out the balance of what really matters to you, and then you do it. You try it out. Whatever happens. Me, I didn't want to. I first of all, I came from a poor neighborhood, so I was already poor. I don't have a mother or a dad to give me money. I had to work for myself. So I spent a
Mhm.
lot of crazy jobs doing shit just so I could afford college. But then when I went to college, I was like, I don't even know what I want to be. What the fuck I'm gonna go to college for? So it was that. Blah 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 blah. Long story short, here I am making a podcast, uh, thinking, fuck, if I would have went for neuroscience or if I would have some kind of scientific degree, this would have benefited me so well what I'm doing now. So I'm like, hey, better to start now than later. I don't have to go to college necessarily. The education is different now, in terms of what's out here, like this Brilliant app. You know what I mean? And also I have this and you and others and whoever. I can talk to people. I don't need to go spend my life personally. I don't need to go spend my life going to college to fall for indoctrination. There's a lot of indoctrinated education out there. I don't know if you're aware of that in the States. I don't know if it's like that or
Yeah,
anywhere
yeah.
else. In the States, it's pretty bad over here.
I'm pretty much aware of it. I usually have a lot of discussions about education on social media or with foreign people. And I'm always like defending education, but I often come to realize and yeah, just put it plainly that the education here is a lot better. For instance, what we're just talking about, like the kind of knowledge and intelligence or on lower level, we had like a whole subject for a quarter of a year devoted to what they call lay knowledge, like the knowledge of people with lower education, and they underscribed, it's not a good word I use, but they underscribed like this knowledge is just as value or maybe even more value than your scientific knowledge.
Mm,
And that's not what they teach on many universities. They usually teach like, yeah, other people don't know what they're talking about, but you
yeah,
do. And
yeah,
so I'm pretty lucky that I went to a good university that was kind of humble
right.
towards their own knowledge. They always be like, yeah, well, I don't think I'm gonna do the example, but they had a great example where nuclear ecologists, which is like a really specific field, like even I don't know much about that specific field. They were arguing with sheep farmers about some radioactive measurements they did. And well, yeah, the nuclear ecologist said, well, yeah, this doesn't seem right. There has to be a flaw in this system. And to make a long story short, the farmer said, yeah, but our sheep graze there and shit in another place. So
Mm,
they transport the nuclear waste to another place. And the scientists first didn't want to believe that.
yeah,
And in the end, it was just proven by another scientist who was open to the knowledge of these farmers. And the whole model fits. So getting out of this ivory tower of scientists is still pretty hard over here. And I'm really glad that I'm aware of my my educational bias. And it's sometimes hard to get around. And I think you're always biased from wherever you come from. It's inevitable to be biased. But if you are aware of it, then you can try to tackle it at least.
Yeah, you can reduce it, lessen the load of your bias. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm always biased. Yeah, I get it. Like I'm always going to be biased. There's always a bias in there because I'm a human being. But because I'm mindful that I'm saying I'm biased, I'm mindful of all these things that I'm saying as much as I can to, sure, okay, yeah, you're biased. You just play along with it. I have different perspectives that I can play around with, so that I can, whenever someone, let's say, has a different bias, whatever, a different belief, a different ideology, thought, proof, their fact, my facts, bro, as you say in America. When they start doing that, I can feel it inside. Oh, his bias is different than my bias. So there's that sensation that you feel when this person disagrees with me. So I don't like that. I feel attacked. How dare you? So there's the whole point of this conversation, by the way, is me, me describing that and you explaining in your way, and what we just, you know what I mean? You're seeing it right now what I'm trying to do. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain earlier, on top of what you were mentioning about everything you were talking about, it was describing a structure. Now, because I'm only able to pick these words out because of this Brilliant app, which is interesting. This is not an ad for Brilliant. I don't do ads, but I am fascinated by it because I'm learning from it. They have many things. They have scientific thinking, so I chose that so I can break things down and explain it in different ways. So
Great,
structures, how they build bridges is through geometry, right? The structure of a triangle is the strongest that I understand, from what I understand. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but the triangle's the sturdiest. I'm wrong.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm a bit.
No, do be the right.
I do this. I like to poke a bit because. And there's also a saying, every time if you talk to an ecologist or biologist, they always say, well, it depends. Because you have one stronger structure, but if you're into this right now, you're gonna love this, because yes, if you put it on a two-dimensional plane and like this, then yes, the triangle is the strongest because the forces are most equally divided.
Right?
Distributed.
Okay.
Yeah, distributed. Yeah, no, that's a better word. My education was in English, but it's more than 5 years ago. So my English sometimes, actually, my big words are a bit gone.
Yeah,
even better for now.
No worries, brother.
I also was really flabbergasted when I hear this for the first time, and it's when they say that, well, no. A circle is the strongest. Oh, here there's something in there, so I can't use that.
That's fine.
Do I have? Well, I have one empty one over here. A circle is the strongest, but not if you put it something on it like this.
Right, if you put something on top of it, right.
But if you do it like this, it's actually the most strongest. So the cylinder. You have to have 3 dimensions, but it's the most strongest structure, and they have also I'm not sure what it's called, but a kind of metal where the metal molecules are arranged in a cylinder, really small molecular cylinder ways, and those are actually stronger than other types of metal that would be stronger if they had a different structure, if they have like a perfect cube or triangles. But if they put on the side in a silicon way, then they are the strongest. So it's really.
So it's based on a perspective, right? Is that
basically yes. You can, perspective. That's what I like about also the word perspective, like sometimes it's like your perspective, but no, there's also this one and that one, and
Well, no,
all these
it's
other perspectives.
there's a various perspective. This world is three-dimensional, whatever.
Yeah, at
Uh,
least.
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Now I was bringing that up because when you were talking, so I can explain what I drew here. Now you see these circles right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to draw something that, okay, this is, I'm somewhere over here, right? That's me. And then there's someone that knows more than me. And then that's someone that knows more than I'm. And then it goes in the middle. I don't know if that right there, you see it? This person
Yeah.
knows more than all these people, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes up to a different hierarchy of different elements that people that know more, blah, blah, blah. I was trying to make a point there that when I drew that, I'm like, that's fascinating. I don't know. I just want to put that out there because it makes a triangle or a structure. Um,
Hmm.
it forms a structure. Uh, I'm my passion is for understanding life overall, like understanding all of this, all that is being present, you know. So I'm always with it as much as possible so that I can gradually learn, gradually be, gradually understand, if that makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I hear many different opinions, many different ideologies, and I'm like, okay, cool. That's a different. That's over someone over here talking. I don't know if you can see it again. That's someone over here talking, right? And then someone over there is gonna say, yeah, and then blah blah blah. So everyone's talking, and then when I don't listen to anybody, and then eventually not listen to myself, this we were having this discussion about on the internet. The whole point of this conversation, when I be into this nothingness, when eventually my mind silences itself, not me, but it's not silenced. It's more like a different spectrum or a different frequency, whatever. It is it. I don't know. We don't have to continue talking about that, but I'm just that's my point. Is like that's what I like to do. I like to roam into that. What is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that no, it's good to go there again. I just want to say one thing in between. It's really nice what you say, like how you want to understand life in general. And I said like I did ecology to help people in the world and stuff. But actually, that came after that because the reason why I studied biology in general in the first place, started kind of medical, was because I wanted to also want to understand life. And well, I thought I grew up in a not so poor family, a middle. Well, we had some hard times, but I really can't complain compared to many others. Watched a lot of TV, and I was into these nature programs and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, if I want to do something that I like, is to understand the world. And if I also want to do something to contribute to
Contribute.
the world,
Yep.
contribute to the world, then well, the biology was quite an obvious choice for me. But also the starting point was, well, how can I understand this? However, part of my meanwhile, when I was studying, I also spoke microbiologist, and he was a teacher, professor, and we had some pretty good, yeah, how do you say that? Well, drinks with students and professors, and he drank quite a lot. And I was asking to him, why did you choose microbiology? Why did you want to do that? And he said like basically the same thing. He said, yeah, I wanted to understand life, and I thought if I go to the most smallest basic kind of life in the world, then maybe I can find what's it all about. And I was like, I was also a bit drunk at times. I was like, well, did you find it? And he was like, sadly, no, I really didn't find the meaning of life in microbiology. However, it teaches me a lot.
Yeah.
But he actually admitted that sometimes it could have been, it was a bit depressing because this was also just one way to approach it. And he noticed also while he was doing it, well, like, well, but there are many other ways to approach it, but I chose this path. And I can't switch back. Well, of course you can always develop yourself in other directions, and he also did that. But it's like, well, I'm not sure, but I think it's also like you, because you also wanted to know life in an earlier stage, but chose another way. And later you also find, oh wait, maybe I could also try a different approach. I missed a lot by just taking this road. Like, it doesn't really matter, but the origin, or from where this great question for knowledge of life is pretty much the same for, well, I think, I don't want to generalize and discriminate, but for a lot of people probably like we are. And to go back to the thing we discussed about on social media, I think this stage you want to go to kind of go to the reductiveness, to reduce things to like the smallest and most basic things, is one of the ways we want to try to understand life. Because basically you have two really different approaches, and that's really fun in a spiritual sense, but also in a scientific sense. And that's that you can do. It's also called reductionism. You can take the reductionism approach and put everything in its smallest element, bring it to atoms, to energy particles, to numbers eventually. Or you can take the holistic approach, like, no, but wait, what does it mean in the whole system? And then, for instance, the makeup of the smallest particles doesn't really um, have to say much about how a system or an organism or a world from a holistic perspective function. So if you only go to the reduction view, then you can miss something. But I think most people are, and for me that also accounts like, if you have like, I always like to make it visually, if you have like, there is a limit to knowledge, maybe let's just take a thought experiment here. There's a limit, like here and here, and you want to know what's it about. Well, you have to search for all these things in between, like what is it, or what is the core of life, what's it all about. Well, that could be a really small thing here in the middle, and you still have these limits over here. If you take the holistic view, then you try to go to these outer limits, but it's hard to see then what's the middle is about. But the thing I like about going to this stillness, this reduction kind of view, is that almost the moment, well, that's how I experienced it, by the way, is there is like a moment when it's so still that the smallest thing and the limits from what is there kind of flows into each other. It's kind of the limits itself are reduced. Like, if the limits are now here, but if you go there, then it just again goes to the kind of the smallest parts of the smallest way, but still everything is in that small part. And I think you can only experience that if you clear your mind, because otherwise you're gonna start thinking like, yeah, but maybe I'm more over here, or I'm more over there, or am I looking big, am I looking small? But if you're going to a small stillness, then those borders and difference kind of dissolve into basically nothingness. However, that was where the discussion a bit started about a lot of spiritual accounts on social media are promoting, well, that if you're in a meditative state, you have to think of nothing. And that was kind of a miscommunication between us in the beginning, because I said like, yeah, well, you shouldn't try to bring your mind to total stillness. Well, I actually didn't say that. I missed the word total. You kind of corrected me. That was a good thing. I was really glad of that, because total silence, I think we cannot achieve that, because we are human beings, and the fact that we can experience total silence is already kind of a noise. It's the most smallest noise you maybe can get, but you can't. Yeah, if you don't have any experience at all, you're not processing information, then I think you're like brain dead for a moment or something. Or even if you are unconscious, you still process things, but you don't remember them. So that was what I kind of meant with like, you shouldn't try to silence your mind in total.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I actually should change my post, but doesn't
No.
matter.
Yeah, Yeah, the post that we're talking about, for those of you that are listening, it was a picture of this man uh holding one side of on his hand a cube, and on the other a ball of energy. And someone who's more spiritual, understanding, they understand this type of stuff, would be able to describe it more. Maybe you do, if you care to describe. But essentially, from what I see, it looks like fire and ice, the elements he's holding, and is a blend between all. Oh, and my phone just turned off. That's funny. uh my phone doesn't want me to describe the image, but anyway, I can still use my what do you call it, my browser on my computer, because technology. uh what was I saying? Oh, so anyway, it was just it was a cool picture. But in that
Yeah,
picture, uh it said, I can't, I want to get the exact quote so I don't screw it up. Okay, I got it.
yeah, maybe, yeah, yeah. You got it. All right.
Oh, do you got it?
No, no, no. I'm trying it on my phone, but you're way faster. So
Oh, no, I'm on I'm on a computer now, trying to find your comment again because my phone just died. If I can, okay, this might be it. No, this is, I'm looking for your comments. Okay, there it is. I found it. Okay, it says, when suicide and meditation remain the only two alternatives
that was it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and nothing else is left, either destroy yourself because your whole life is meaningless, or transform yourself into a new plane of being. One has to choose between suicide and meditation. Meditation is a method of inner transformation. Now, do you want to describe this? I would like to get your perspective on this post in general, and then we
Could you
can.
maybe send it in the chat?
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't find the original post. I actually was talking about because we started the discussion also about the post I posted on my account. But what you're talking about was before, that was the origin. So
Yeah, I'll
I
send
like,
it here. Let me. I got it on this computer now. I'm flipping between computers.
I also do that a lot.
Yeah, because this one has a webcam, so that's why I use this laptop.
It's
I
it's well, maybe it's synchronity or coincidence, but I'm actually doing the same right now.
Synchronicity indeed, my friend. We could talk about that if you want, but I've been playing a lot with synchronicity, understanding this
Yeah, me
life.
too. But well, let's start at the beginning, yeah,
No,
because I
yeah,
noticed we already can get off
flipping.
track.
No.
Yeah,
I was saying later. You don't have to talk about that in this discussion. It's a. I know all of this is. It's just a lot. I'm so fascinated by all of this, honestly.
yeah,
Trying to.
we can put a pin in that maybe for another time.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I can't find a chat. Okay, there it is. I'm like trying to find a chat so I can text it to you. This is not as easy as I thought it was. Okay, I sent you the link.
Yeah.
Granted, the grammar is off really bad. I'm not even a grammar expert. There's no punctuation.
I'm
No.
very bad at grammar myself.
Oh, that's fine. I'm horrible at it, but it's just
Yeah,
this is hilarious. So yeah, what is your take on suicide and meditation when
well,
remaining the two alternatives?
yeah, well, that's the whole point. What I was criticizing about is that they posted as a kind of a dualistic option. Like you can either do this or you can do that. And of course, meditation can be a really good tool to help with suicidal thoughts. I actually had that in my life, yeah, for a few times, and now I'm doing meditation quite a lot, almost every day. Well, actually every day, but sometimes shorter than longer, and that really helps. But they posted that's what I don't really like about a lot of these accounts, that they really post like they kind of post themselves as they're like really open-minded and open to many views, but simultaneously they're like posting really one-way views, like if you feel bad you should just do this and then everything will be all right. From what I experienced myself and also talked with a lot of people about it, have many different friends. Some are totally not into spirituality, others are. Some are in psychology, others are in mindfulness, but not spirituality. With all these different forms, and luckily I have many different friends. And some of them, their friends, have issues with the suicidal thought. And we were once in a meditation group during the Corona crisis, when everybody had to be at home. And for some, meditation was actually a kind of a horrible thing to do. Like I like to be aware of my thoughts when I am calm. And for me, that's a way that I can use meditation to calm myself, also to get a hold on my thoughts. And then I always find, always find that I really like my thoughts that way, like calm. And even when I'm overthinking it, I can still like it. But there were some other people that were like, well, no, I actually get really irritated. I get irritated by sitting still. I get irritated by trying to think of the same thing all of the time to get in this meditative state. And well, often you hear like, yeah, but you have to do the work. You have to keep through. You have to keep trying, and then it will be better. But I was like, well, maybe it doesn't really work for everyone that way. And we were in this group, and there were also different other assignments that we did. A friend of mine was into a mindfulness coaching company, something like that. And she started with this whole 21 days session derived from a Deepak Chopra. I don't know.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Deepak Chopra. Yeah.
And we also had like these things with not visualization, but man, it's on the point of my tongue. Not manifestation. Well, it was all about thinking about the state of abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking of like how you in a meditative setting, experiencing that you can have everything in life. And for some people, this was really horrible. For me included, that part. So meditating itself wasn't horrible. For me, it actually was, because I was like, well, I can imagine really good what I want and what I want out of life, and the things I miss in life. But for me, it was actually more of a confrontation with the limited possibilities I have in life. Well, for me, this is a really long story, but put in a really short way. Basically, I would like to be able to travel between worlds, between times, that kind of stuff. Well, that's practically just not possible. And also, I'm pretty horrified with all the bad stuff in the world. I would like to fix it. Well, if there's one thing I'm pretty sure of right now at this moment, for at least, I can fix it. And it's a confrontation. So that meditative state was actually not that made me feel really bad. And the rest were like 3 people, and we were with a group of 20 people, I think, or 18. And they were also like, well, this is, I got really depressed by that. And some actually quit it because of that kind of meditative approach to their problems. And I was also kind of flabbergasted, because I wasn't the first that was putting out there like I felt bad of it. Actually, we did this 21 days, we did it 2 times. And actually only the second time I did it, I was like, well, wait, for me, this also had a negative line to it, which I didn't notice before. But now I understand what those people mean. So that's what I kind of triggered me at this post, that they really say like, well, if you have suicidal thoughts, you have to meditate. And I'm like, whoa, this is really a short advice, which should be nuanced way more than it's in this post, because some people can take this the wrong way, and if they put it into practice, it actually could have a negative effect on them, while there are like maybe limitless other methods to get out of a depression.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that case, because when you just, all right, just sit there and meditate, right? Just sit there and meditate, and you don't know what you're doing. You just sit there and meditate.
Basically the usual way I meditate, but yeah.
But when someone thinks, all right, what do I have to do? And then that's when the thoughts start to happen. Am I doing this right? I can't focus. I can't think. Oh, it's too much thinking. Oh, I can't meditate. Right. So it's just that stuff that leads to that, the roadblocks you run into. Uh, but I want to go with my experience because this is why I was trying to understand this post, and then I said what I said because somebody commented. I forget exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, "I'm trying really hard. I'm really trying,"
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
and I felt bad for that guy. And then someone else commented, two other people, "Yeah, keep going, keep going." And I was
Exactly.
like, "No, no, 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 no. Whoa, hold up. There is no trying. You know, I got this from Yoda. You know, the
Yeah.
great Yoda. There is no
Yeah.
trying. It's only do. You know, basically. Just, um. Now, I feel bad for people who try to meditate. This is where it gets wonky. This is from my experience of learning that whenever I listen to someone, I listen to Sam Harris. He has. Oh, you still there? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still there. Still there.
It looked like you were locked in or frozen. Um, sorry. I listen to someone named Sam Harris. He has an app called Waking Up, and I love it. It's one of my favorite apps because it introduced me to Buddhism and introduced me to uh, the self and no self. Introduced me to many different styles of meditation that I had no idea existed because I thought it was just sit down and meditate. Just sit down and be quiet. That's it.
Mhm.
I had a very limited view perspective angle on what meditation was because when I went through suicide tendencies, I heard meditation at that time. I was 23-ish, 22-ish. I don't remember exactly. I heard meditation was like my last fucking thing because I was in the brink of like, all right, I could just end this now. I don't even want to be here anymore. No one loves me. I live in my mom's basement. I'm going back, so I'm taking it back to that time with my thoughts. I hate myself because I don't even know what I want to do in my life. I would love to make films, but no one cares about me. I'm not even helping myself do that because I'm lazy. I'm a procrastinator, and I've been through so much in this life. Why am I even doing this? So, suicide was an option, and it was something I faced every day. That I woke up, oh, I'm alive again. Okay, what can I do to better myself? Blah blah. And I was always running to shitholes that, and pretty much at the end of the road again. Here's the fork in the road: suicide or continue going. And I was really close to doing it. I did try multiple times, but that's besides the point. Uh, uh, Tried to swallow a bunch of sleeping pills, for example, threw that up immediately. So didn't really have a bad effect on me, thankfully, because I love my life now. But
Nice.
um, what I'm saying is, at that time, I was stuck, and then meditation came up. So I tried meditation. So that I ran. I was like, oh, it was a thought that came to me. Oh, meditation, try it. Okay, so I did that, and I found a video on YouTube that had just nature sounds. It was just like you're in the woods, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I could do. So I put on the headphones and just like sat there and just it was in the morning, so it was different various times. Like this was a weekend, I remember, because I'm not able to sleep in the morning. I'm not able to wake up in the morning to enjoy the sunrise or
Mhm.
the morning, I should say. I have to work usually, or at that time, I don't know if I was working or not, but anyway, I think I got laid off my job too. I think that was another problem. I was unemployment. I was under unemployment, so I think that was the case. Anyway, which is another a depressing issue that I was going through. Um, and basically, straight to the point, meditation helped me. I don't know why. It's something lit up in that experience mind you, I'm in the basement, no sun. You get what I'm getting at? I was not in the sun. I was in darkness.
Yeah, well, actually, this talk about synchronous stuff was not my last time, but one time I was having suicide tendencies. I said I come from not a poor family, but actually at the time, I didn't get any money anymore to finish my studies, and I was like in the last part, and I had to live at my mom's house, which whom already also lived actually in a like only a lower part of a house. They didn't have a basement, but they had like a kind of shed thing attached to the house, and that became my living place at the
Oh
time.
man.
And I had to borrow money from all the way and work while I was studying. And there was also like this yeah, there was like a really big window actually, which looked out of the garden. Her garden was small, but she had a garden, and I was really glad with that. So I can imagine that your situation was even worse about considering the light. So yeah, yeah, and it was also one of the few times I started to take up meditation again. So just in between. So now go ahead again. But yes, I recognize.
Yeah. Give me a second. Let me tend to my daughter again. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
go ahead.
Again, thank you so much, Sydney. Like, I appreciate you. I'm
Yeah.
like emotional right now, so I'm trying to get myself back because I went back and that thing hits me hard. I didn't realize how hard it hits you. I don't want to. We were talking before we recorded, and we were going to a different topic, and they're all fascinating to me. So it doesn't matter. Whatever comes out of this conversation, I hope whoever's listening, or you're able to follow. And I have to apologize if you don't like this way of doing it, but this is the way I like to do it because it's like my way of exploring the universe. The universe is just massive, okay? And in a micro perspective, going within, it's like we were talking about this, I believe, off camera. The tiniest spectrum. I think we were on camera. I can't.
No, we were on camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I confused it. But it's just regardless when we get to that tiniest dot of talking about something, I'm like, I like that, that's cool, let's just keep going. But so it's like, why limit yourself to the possibilities of all these different atoms or whatever you want to call it surrounding us, and versus just like let's keep it here.
Yeah, well, that's a nice way of putting it, and in a way also related to what I was talking about, what seems to be kind of odd topic, but of course it's related because it's the flow of discussion. But you asked me at some point if I believe in souls.
Yeah, I asked you offhand before we recorded. I was asking him if he believes in souls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And before that, we're talking about discussion. I don't mind getting off topic, but I do like to get back to things we discussed. But
Sure. Yeah, we can if you want
yeah,
to. So basically, we were talking about suicide and meditation. We can go there. I think we should.
yeah. Well, maybe we can go off topic like for a moment and then get back.
Whatever you.
Actually, I like that. I like that one the most. I also do a lot of talk with students. I have like a national online school together with a real professor. Like that guy is a bit higher in the pyramid, and I do we do the same thing. We don't have like a structure or fixed points that we're going to talk about. We're going to do these open discussions, and we see where it go. However, we have this many people now that want to hear stuff, so we gotta get it a bit on track. Otherwise, it just goes
Yeah.
all the way. And then some students are there like, okay, but this wasn't what I want to talk about. But for now, of course, it doesn't matter because it's just the two of us. But if it's about belief, that I would like to talk about that. My relationship with belief, because originally I'm a scientist. I'm educated in the scientific method, and also mainly in the experimentio de ratio. That's the only use rational and logical thinking to get knowledge from what you see. So the observable is really important in this kind of science. And I like that because that brings a bit of structure, and you know where you talk about it, you can measure things, so you can control it by saying like, well, I think this works this way, like I think gravity works, that it pulls down. Oh, yeah, it does. And you can do this like 1,000 of times, and then we conclude, well, probably the 1,001 time I will do it, it also will fall down. It's a kind of a bit of obvious thing, but what I really love about science, if you go deeper to it, a true scientist, if you would ask, well, will it fall the 1001 time? The true scientist would say, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it goes up. But considering we have seen it falling down 1000 times, it's very probable, based on this logical way of thinking,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
we might assume that it will fall the next time. And many people don't like to be wrong. We already talked about it before. And also a lot of scientists don't like to be wrong, but scientists that go really deep into stuff. I watched a documentary about some guy who was searching for this dark matter, and someone asked him, yeah, but what if we found it doesn't exist because we don't know it exists yet? And he would be like, well, I think I will have to go to the bar that day. That's for sure. But after that, actually, I would be really glad, because that would mean there would be a whole new field of natural sciences opening up that I didn't know before. So if you also, I think they also asked them, do you believe in dark matter? And he also said, well, I kind of hope it's there, because I made all these theories and we can put them in practice to good use. And if it's not, then yeah, we'll have to go back to the drawing board again, erase a lot of stuff and start over again. But the knowledge I gathered in the time, it wasn't useless, because you can still use the methods you developed, you can still use the way of thinking. Many practical things that are applied in science are actually derived from an original flow of thinking that turned out to be wrong. But then they also went another way, and they were like, yeah, but sorry, this was right, that was wrong. And those scientists are like, oh, well, okay, then we just go over there. And with belief in souls, of course, the problem is that, well, we didn't observe it, at least not in a shareable way. I mean, I can experience having a soul, feeling other one's souls, and believing in it. But at the same time, I would say, yeah, but I'm really not sure about it. So how can I say I really believe in something while I'm not sure about it?
Right. And you just explain all that, and you just sent, like, when you talk, for some reason my imagination just does what it does. So that's fascinating to me, because that's what we all do. When we go here, go there, and again, that goes right back to that thing I drew earlier, with the circles forming, various triangles and shapes, whatever. It's not just limited to a triangle, because I just realized if you look at it a different perspective, it can also be a different. If you continue to draw the circles and triangles, and lines, it can turn into a whole different shape, like a cube, or what do you call that? The octagonal cube, whatever
Yeah.
that. Yeah, the D&D dice, whatever that thing's called.
Mhm.
I don't know. My point is, we're all learning, man, and that right there to me is beautiful. Like, just the process of all of us being and gradually doing this, like that 1000th time and 1001, we still don't know. And then it's like,
Yeah.
it's better to be, for me, in my opinion, that way of like, I don't know. Let's see, try it again. 1001.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
What else do we
exactly.
got?
Yeah. No, but exactly, that's kind of point. And now that's what I like to do, is to go back to the topic back about the meditation and the suicidal state, and then recommending meditation. What I didn't like about this post, and I know I'm kind of like playing the advocate's devil, or being the guy that's always says yeah but, and talk about details, because for many people, of course, it's a good thing that they put it out there, like, yeah, maybe you should try meditate. Yes, yeah, well, better do it. That's the discussion. But when they see it, they might think, yeah, well, okay, I just put on some, yeah, like you did, and
Right.
also what I did, some nature sounds, and it might help. But I really like that if people formulate and say that, yes, this is again recommended, because we assume that it might be helpful to you, but keep in mind that it might also be not the case.
Yep.
Because for many people that try these meditation forms I did with this group, it turned out that it had a kind of negative effect.
Yeah.
And I kind of noticed that, well, maybe they actually should have stopped it earlier and try
Mm.
maybe another different method of meditation or something totally different to get out of their depression. But if you like that guy that was posting, yeah, I'm trying, it was like forcing the meditation.
Yep.
And that becomes an issue then. If you are trying to force one way and think this is the only way and it doesn't work out, then you can get stuck. Then you can get stuck really bad. And again, it can only feed your depression because you're like, yeah, well, I'm trying this and this should work, but I can do it. I can't meditate in that way and I can't help myself. Oh, I'm so bad. Oh, you see, all these people can do it, but I can't do it. And that's the thing I like to prevent a lot when these kinds of posts are around. Like, yeah, you can try it, but always keep in mind there are many different options, and maybe even a better way arises that says, yeah, well, you could better try something else. Um, yeah, for these few people that try it but doesn't work out.
Right. There's the thing that I mention with all the time. It's called Tend to Your Garden, and what was the other one? I forget what I was talking, what I was referring to. But when you tend to your garden, basically, everyone does what they do in their garden. They grow whatever they want to grow. They decide to grow whatever, and then they realize, holy shit, it's not as easy as it looks to grow things, especially on your own. You try and figure it out. So, you can go read up books, you can read up, uh, you can ask questions to people, your neighbors who, if they have a garden, oh, what are you doing over there? Or what are you trying out? What methods are you using? Blah, blah. And that person, hey, I just try this, do this way, blah, blah. And then, or you can pay somebody else that really knows what they're doing. They've been doing it for 20 years, gardening, you know? So Tend to Your Gardening has been, I'm trying to write a book on this, but basically it's I take that with everything I do in my life. Meditation is one, it's one way of thinking. Same thing, same principles. I can do it myself, but there's going to be a difficult time if I don't learn how to there's different ways of doing this. First of all, I didn't know that there's ways of tending to my garden in my mind. I didn't know that there's a lot of things that are happening to it gets, uh, advanced for me. Even for me, as I've been doing this since 2000 and that time when I was depressed, miserable, and wanted to kill myself. That was, I don't remember the year, 2009 ish, 2009, 2010. So I got introduced to meditation that way, but recently meditating uh, with the app, Sam Harris app, seeing that there's different ways of meditating and really putting a lot of time into it, like daily practice for 20 minutes to an hour. It was standard that I would do 30 minutes, but then things changed. COVID happened. I did it for the whole year, and I got really intrigued and gained a lot of insights, negative and positive. Talking about the negative stuff that a lot of people wouldn't be able to deal with, so to speak. Like if it just so happened to be in their cloud of thought that, let's say, do you follow Buddhism by any chance?
I got into it, and well, yeah. What is following? But I
Yeah,
know Buddha. I'm
following
no.
as in not following it as in worshiping it, but following as it like researching, studying. That's what I meant. The word came out
Yeah,
wrong.
let's put it this way. The first time I got interested was like in 2005 or something. So, and since then, of course, when I see a documentary or somebody gave me a book or I read something online. So, yes, it's a part I enjoyed of in my life
Okay.
already. So, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm going to say things and I want to make sure if you understand what I'm talking about, then you can correct me, please. But Maya, I think they call it Maya. My whole point to that is Maya could be taking over, trying to steer you the wrong way, the wrong direction into if you so in all right. So for those that don't understand what I'm talking about, watch a documentary on Buddhism if you can, please, on YouTube. Let me see if I can get the exact video. It's a perfect video to introduce you into Buddhism, but it tells you the story about Buddha, how he became enlightened. Not Buddha himself, but I forget his name exactly. I forget his name. He was a prince. He
Siddhartha
was,
Gautama.
what is it?
Siddhartha Gautama.
I'm sorry,
He
one more
was,
time.
I think Siddhartha Gautama.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm not
yes.
sure if I pronounce it right,
See,
but yeah,
I don't know how to say his name either correctly,
yeah.
but it's definitely that name. um, but the overall, there's a story to it. So I would look up Buddhism, and I don't know if it was going to come up, Buddhism documentary, and it tells you about the story of Buddha, or just look up any kind of video that someone can explain it. But basically, Maya tried to stop Buddha from becoming enlightened by trying to trick him into stop doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you meditating? Why are you meditating? You stupid. Come on. You're wasting time. You're sitting here doing what? What are you trying to meditate? Trying to get better? You're trying to prove yourself? Come on. Shut the fuck up. And then negative thoughts and negative thoughts. And then you're like, fuck, I hate my life and blah, blah. You quit, all this shit. So that people can believe that shit. You know what I mean? So people can fall into that trick of what Maya does. And again, this is a way of explaining another way. It was just the same shit where you get into darkness. The yin yang sign. This behind me, it doesn't look like a yin yang sign, but it's basically particles of a yin yang sign. If you think of the white spot on the yin yang sign, this is basically you know what I mean? The white part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it. And then there's a moon. It's a moon, but then you expand it out a little bit more. There's a whole eyeball. It's an eyeball. It's crazy fucking.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. I love this thing. But what I'm trying to say is you got to go to the microscopic aspect of what darkness is to be with it, but not everyone could do that. So that's where it's hard for someone who's dealing with suicide because then they just may choose suicide. Just
Yeah.
This post on Instagram said suicide or meditation. Suicide. And it's not that simple, of course.
No, exactly. No, it's exactly. It's not that simple. And when you talk about the darkness and about this Maya thing, actually the last time I had suicidal tendencies was actually not really that long ago. I think it was it started about I think a year ago or something. Actually, a little bit longer, but before the COVID shutdown and stuff, and of course being alone and that shit doesn't really help. But when I was at like a deepest point, and I had really suicidal tendencies, and I also heard like, well, you could say like the Mayan voice or something. Say like, yeah, well, you got to get out of it. You got to get rid of this suicidal way of thinking. You got to stop it. Come on, don't try hard. Go do sports. Go do well. This is actually opposite from what Maya said, but go do meditation because you need to fix yourself.
Right. All right.
That's kind of the point. Actually, the time limit is good, but. Actually, was talking about one of the deepest points I had when I had the suicidal thoughts, and I was fighting against these suicidal thoughts, also with the help of meditation. And within a moment, I kind of realized that I was this voice that you usually hear around yourself, like, now you should do this and you should do that because you have to go that way, get out of this suicidal thoughts, and then everything will be better. However, that didn't work for me at all, and I came to realize that I did for years, maybe even since my last depression, which was years before, always try to fight a lot of these suicidal and negative thoughts, but yeah, for some reason it sounds a bit cliche, but it isn't. I needed to embrace that way of thinking. Actually, I think actually you're one of the first people, except for a few, that I can really talk about this, because I can like say I'm still kind of suicidal, but I don't want to do suicide. So it's still the negative thoughts that I had about life and myself, and especially my place and goal in the world and everything. It's still pretty negative for some reason. For instance, I don't really believe that anything really matters. Like I did get a nice opinion from a stoicistic mind, another great podcaster also, and he said about that an evolutionary biologist also said, yeah, there is no point in life. Everything's going to end at some point. You can believe that everything goes on, and yeah, for sure something goes on, but even molecules and atoms eventually goes into nothingness, and that will be the end. But there is an intermediate meaning to life. Yeah, a bit cliche, but the here and the now. And for many people, it's like, well, yeah, you've got to find the positive in the here and the now. But for me, it's actually kind of the other way around, because a lot of negative thoughts I have about myself or the world are really big, important part of who I am. It makes me, actually, the denialism I have can make some things that are boring or not special to other people really positive for me. Like I can get really happy from watching a raindrop reflecting in the sun, while other people are walking beside it, straight past it on their phone, trying to get their business empire growing or something. And then it's like, yeah, well who's got the bigger problem now? You know, well, I think, well, this business empire might be useless or something. And so for me, that's finding the darkness, and it's a bit cliche, but in the darkness, back to Taoism also, in the darkness you can find the light. It's a part of each other. Yeah,
beautiful,
and it's not. It's usually misunderstood yin yang, because it's often represented in the Western world by like positive and negative, and like bad and good, and female versus male. Of course, that there are ways to classify things that are easy to, then you can talk about stuff, but the light and darkness are so entangled in each other, and that's actually what the yin yang sign also tries to visualize, that they are going hand in hand. It's a dynamic thing that goes into each other. Like I almost want to say that light is darkness. Maybe that makes a bit sense to you.
Makes sense to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Light is darkness, darkness is light. You can there's always, now I learned as a hermeticism with the poles. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. In hermeticism, there's a way of learning about the polar opposites. Everything that is something has an opposite or whatever. So darkness and light, is one of the most important aspects of life itself, because you can't have one without the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah. However, it's I try to go, and we shall put a pin in it for the next time. But I did find for myself that like if everything is meaningless or everything goes to nothingness, that would be okay for me, because it's practically the same. Like nothing is everything, light is dark. And that actually made me feel better about it. So like, okay, maybe that's the case, and that's also what Lao Tzu in Taoism said. Yeah, you can go into your life and try to make the best of it, but your life might as well end in a tragedy. But that doesn't mean you have to stop living. And yeah, that's what really was Taoism about for me during my depression. And I also like how that fits within many other philosophical and scientific ways of thinking, because if you like on the post we were talking about, it's not just one way, not one final goal you're going through. It can be any way or even not a way, and that's a bit deeper into Taoism, what we maybe can say for next time.
For sure, because I've been I how do you say it, twiddled with it. I didn't go deep enough to learn more about it. I just read some things, listened to some audiobook that was teaching me a little bit about Taoism, and just again reflecting on all that is, just everything that I get to experience that is Tao, so to speak, and who knows if I understand what I'm talking about, because Tao is unexplainable.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just like, just continue to do what I'm doing, man. Just learning and growing and learning and growing. Just repeating. I'm that. What's his name? Syphilis. I think his name's Sisyphus.
Sisyphus. Yes. Yeah. I, I, I heard
Pushing up,
about it.
yeah, pushing up that boulder, up the
Yeah.
hill, and then down it comes again, and pushing up the boulder again. It's my way of
Yeah.
looking at life, of what we all do, pushing up the boulder. But it depends on what you want to push, what boulder you want to push up. Like I'm pushing up a triangle or a pyramid, so to speak, and I'm just learning what the pyramid does. Oh, that's interesting. Just keep doing it over and over, and then continue to see the physics aspect of it, or understanding why am I pushing up this fucking, why am I pushing up this pyramid, up this hill? Why am I doing this? Is this is the act of my free will, or is something controlling me to do this? Is that my brain telling me to pick that up? Blah 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 blah. You know, I continue going down that line.
Yeah, but
Uh,
what I really like about your way of thinking, I think we have like a similar thing in that, is that you're not focused on the problem of the boulder itself. Like many people are like, what the fuck? Why is this boulder here? I don't want to push up a boulder. This is stupid. I don't want to do it. But you're like, no, but why am I doing it? And what if I keep doing it? And even if I can't get the boulder up, what does that mean? You know, you're driven also by the not knowing.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, I
It's my
think that
cure.
it was probably where the connection first,
Yeah,
why the connection started so easily, because we were both like, oh, what this guy is talking about, and
yeah,
it wasn't a problem that we didn't know, like, yeah,
yeah,
from each other. That's actually what has brought us together, like
yeah.
this not understanding yet,
Yep,
and
exactly.
yeah,
And my wife, I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I just want to leave you with this. For you think for yourself on this one. But my wife, she said, why do you do what you do? And I said, because I just want to figure out life. And she said, what if there is no figuring out life? And I said, but what if there is? You just keep going. I drive myself crazy. I love it. I enjoy it. Like, we're
exactly,
here. You're my
yeah,
wife. I'm not, I mean, I'm borderline crazy. I call it mindfully nuts, because I'm mindful that I'm nutty as fuck. But
yeah,
it's,
I like that, yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's an appreciate.
mindfully fast, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because all, like, come on, man. Having people discover things like Einstein and blah blah blah. All, you go down the line, Nikola Tesla, who are nutty as fuck, and it's because they were trying to figure out life, man. You
yeah,
know, for them, they did their own thing, and we remember their names because of whatever, you know.
yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that leaves you anything to think about, but whether you agree with that or not, I should say, whose side you stand on. But that's for the listener slash viewer. Uh, do you agree with
Yeah.
my wife? Should I stop doing what I'm doing? No.
Yeah, I think we could answer it, but I think it's also fun if somebody's going to listen, then I won't answer it and they can think more about it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we can pick it up next time. Hey,
Cool,
I'm
man.
really, really thankful that you asked me, like re really a lot. And I love that the connection was so easily from the start, and it's only more and more and more like this pyramid is already like going into an utopian state almost in my mind, like we could build it to anything in our minds at least. So I'm really glad of that, and well, hope to talk to you some other time.
Yeah, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you for joining me, and I definitely want you to be on again. I would love to have you another time. I'm just trying to do this, so and I appreciate anybody that just, okay, let me just talk to this random guy and see what happens. If we get more of that, we get more of this happening, and to let that be its own pyramid, building off of many pyramids happening
Yeah,
on their own. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because that's the whole point of when I say that I value conversations more than what we're. I don't know. I don't know if what the perspective is from your point of view, but over here it's getting scary, man. It's crazy. A lot of politics nonsense, a lot of shit that I'm just like, oh, this could all end at any point. And I'm
I
just gonna,
think you're the first guy in a long time, and even though I have really good friends, that I could have like this conversation on this topic for this long. So
yeah,
even if I have open-minded people around me, that the topic goes other direction because you're different people. So I'm really glad I met you and that we can do this way. Yeah.
Same, man. Appreciate you.
All
All
right.
right, man. Until next time, guys.
Till next time.
Till
Thank
next
you.
time. All right, bye.